Guys, y'all need to understand that the Blizzard you once knew is completely gone. World of Warcraft is never going to be good again. The absence of masculinity and manliness inside of WoW has been detrimental for the game's health. I don't think that even most people nowadays even realize the level of severity WoW is currently in. I honestly don't, because this problem isn't really new. It started all the way in Pandaria, and I think that the recent Midnight Housing trailer just exasperated the problem. It kind of what was pop the bubble. It's really, really bad, and I think that the fact that more and more people are quitting the game instead of talking about it honestly just makes it worse. We've seen the new Wine Mom and Labubu millennials who are currently working on World of Warcraft, and that's why we're having this many problems. We need to push back against this, and now they do have Chris Metzen, which generally speaking I think he's like really phenomenal talented person, but he's just one person. It's not enough. We actually need to make sure that World of Warcraft is great again. Most players want that, most players need that, and that's what makes WoW great. And don't get me wrong, there's a time and place for, you know, toddlified, Disneyfied video games, 100%. I think Overwatch doing it isn't bad. I actually quite enjoyed Overwatch cinematics back in the day, but that's only because it was Overwatch. World of Warcraft isn't like that. Imagine trying to do that with Warhammer 40k. It would never fly. People would literally abandon everything they loved about this game in an instant. And that's exactly the same reason for why I talk about this so vehemently when it comes to WoW. Because this game is really close to my heart. I love it dearly, and I want to see it being great again. But unfortunately, Blizzard doesn't think so.
This was World of Warcraft 22 years ago.
Oh.
There was weight to it, an atmosphere of adventure.
It's beautiful, man. Just a lone ranger.
Wanted to get lost in.
It's beautiful. Look at that. Crazy to think this cinematic was like over 20 years ago.
Is World of Warcraft today.
Not again. Not again. Please, God.
The saturation is on 200%. And the vibe of a Pixar movie.
God, oh my. Bro, I will never forgive Blizzard for that. I would literally never forgive Blizzard for taking orcs, okay? The most badass race ever. The only race that I play. No, just kidding. I played Otter too, but main is Orc Warrior, always, okay? Mak'gora. You need to understand that. And they did this. And someone actually in my comment section tried to defend this, saying, oh, they are peons. They're supposed to be dumb. Bro, they were dumb and manly. They were cool. Okay, yeah, you bit them a little bit. You need to rough them up, right? So they have to work and chop some apple trees. But they were still manly and cool. They weren't like, planting flamingos like weirdos. They weren't this. Look at them. They look like toddlers. What in God's name? They're supposed to be soldiers, man. Warriors. Oh, yikes.
How could a game once known for some of gaming's most badass cinematics become what it is today?
Absolute cinema.
The game had a completely different vibe than it does today, and is sadly a vibe that a lot of modern games lack as well.
Yep. Because every single game tries to be Fortnite nowadays. That's the real problem. Every single game tries to be family friendly because in terms of monetization, they can capitalize more on that because you have more people to essentially just purchase your product. Obviously, it makes sense, right? You want to make sure that your audience is the largest it can be. But I don't think that's good business practice because I think that Blizzard would make way more money if they cater to their audience. Because I think that by trying to have this broad appeal, they actually garner less and less audience. That in my opinion. And I know that millions still play World of Warcraft, but that's only because it's the only MMO that exists, right? It's the same reason for I still play Classic. It's literally the best MMO out there. Not retail, God forbid, but, you know, still. Most people have an itch that cannot be scratched unless it's World of Warcraft. And that's very unfortunate. But the moment Riot MMO would come out, guys, I'm telling you, 30 years from now, mark my words, WoW is done. It's cooked.
Wrath of the Lich King ended up being World of Warcraft's all-time peak, as it reached 12 million concurrent subscribers during the...
And you can see the graph right here. You know why there is this anomaly here at Warlords of Draenor? Do you guys understand why? If you've seen the trailer, you know why. The trailer for Warlords of Draenor was literally peak World of Warcraft in my opinion. Just the trailer, not the expansion. But my god, it was so manly. Oh man, seeing Grom Hellscream just denying the tribute from Manaroth and just with the axe like jumping it down. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And Garrosh standing on top of Illidan, telling him, in front of Gul'dan, telling him that times changed. Oh, it was such a badass line. I love this trailer so much. I've watched it at least 100 times.
Expansion in October
100%.
2010, but subscribers continued to decrease in the following expansions. So what happened to Blizzard that resulted in this?
Candy
It
Crush.
seems like they have lost track of what their core audience supported them for. And copium can only last for so long.
I actually
Because
like
if I
that.
had to pick between these two, I know which one I'd choose.
Of course.
Some
Everyone.
people think it all went downhill once Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard in 2023.
No, it started way before that. Way before that.
But World of Warcraft had fallen off this track long before that.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft Dragonflight launched
Oh,
right before
God.
the acquisition in November of 2022.
Guys, I'm literally doing the new level experience right now, and I'm doing it through Dragonflight because I haven't played the expansion. I quit during BFA. And all that you do inside of the expansion is the most neutered garbage ever. It's literally just walking around doing some gardening, helping them tend the trees, the woods, and treat a few whelps. You literally take pictures of whelps. You know how cringe that is? I could not even wrap my mind about the fact that this was World of Warcraft. They literally give you a camera inside of the game and you need to take pictures of cute baby whelps eating their food or trying to fly for the first time. Do you know how much I cringe during that segment? You couldn't even believe that. I was recording, but I just scrapped all the footage. It was just too much. So now I'm just blazing through the leveling experience because I actually want to reach midnight and that's it.
It was a clear sign that Blizzard had lost their touch. Not even the most die-hard fans could ignore it at this point.
That's the last WoW Blizzard fan. No! He got snatched by the new expansion. Because they're addicts. You see? They cannot be saved, guys. The moment you try to let go, Blizzard
It looks like
clutches
something
you
right
back
out
in.
of How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong, dragons are cool and I think that their models are pretty great here in the trailer, but inside of the game, they look so weird. I mean, the disparity is just too much, man. It's just way too much. And you could have made a really cool dragon expansion. You could have done that, but instead you opted for like the friendship power, which is apparently an actual tangible stuff inside of WoW nowadays, and it's so disgusting, man. It's appalling.
And it's laughable when you compare it to World of Warcraft Cataclysm,
Exactly.
which came out 12 years prior.
That's how you do
It
a
had
dragon.
flaws, sure, but it still passed that vibe check, untouched by the sanitized tone we see today.
And I mean, that's what probably scares me the most. If they ever try to touch Galakrond, how are they going to do that? After seeing Dragonflight, I honestly have no expectation whatsoever it's going to be good.
I think we see the same problem here that seems to happen in so many popular franchises. What once was only a 60 developer team when World of Warcraft launched has exploded all the way to 800 plus developers in
Are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm not gonna call out the difference, okay? I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna let you guys soak in the experience for just a moment, and then you tell me yourself what you're seeing.
recent years. This vast expansion of team size will lead to more compartmentalization for every...
Listen, I'm not gonna say anything about that. All that I'm going to say is that I think that nowadays 50% of Blizzard are HR people. Okay, that's all that I'm going to say.
layer of the game versus the tight-knit passion project we were used to in the early years.
Scatter that dust.
Many ex-players hold on to hope that it will return to its former glory days.
I'm one of them.
You needed time.
Oh, God.
We stayed away. But time
Don't show me
by
Anduin crying
itself
again.
heals nothing.
I hate that.
But maybe what made it special in the first place is no longer there.
Oh,
Now only a
man.
few of the original team remain. Chris Metzen being one of the only old guard that stayed to carry the torch. The team shaping this world now didn't create it.
And you know what? That's actually a good point. I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, Chris Metzen is on the game now. Yes, guys, that's true. And the story did pick up after he came back to the company. But at the same time, he's only one person. And there's a limit to what one person can do inside of a large company. So obviously, the game has significantly become better in terms of like lore and stuff. And yeah, the new villain is kind of looking cool, I guess. But to be fair, Dragonflight didn't push that much of a high bar. So you can't really just convince me that World of Warcraft is back, baby, and we can have everything that we once loved about the game inside of it now. No, that's not going to happen. There's way bigger change that need to happen, and it's not even directed to the people who actually works at the game. It's about the higher-ups. I think once the management stops looking at Fortnite and go like, oh, World of Warcraft can be this, that moment, World of Warcraft can be great again. But they don't care.
They inherited it. And somewhere in that handoff, the original intent was lost, replaced piece by something easier to manage, easier to market, and easier to sell. For a game that has always charged a monthly subscription to play,
I don't know.
It seems their greed is bottomless. Whether that's the level boosts that are advertised from character selection, the option to buy gold with real money, the new microtransaction furniture to decorate your cozy home, or the overpriced shop with exclusive cosmetics and, for fuck's sake, a $90 mount as well.
Oh, that's a long boy. We love that one. And yeah, obviously, most of the money coming to WoW nowadays, or to Blizzard from WoW to be precise, is from the shop, like directly. It's directly microtransactions, and maybe like they get a really huge boost from the expansion purchase, 100%, but most of the money is from microtransactions, and that's why the shop is so refined while the game is just slacking behind. It's just an entire slog. You have literally game-breaking bugs inside of the game of people like cutscenes breaking their PC, and also talent trees being not fixed. You have a literal problem with a talent tree that you get a talent for an ability which you currently do not possess because you're too much of a lower level. And they don't fix that, but the shop, oh boy. You get into the shop and it works like that. And on top of that, you have all of these options. Everything is organized, well understood, and, you know, so easily to navigate through. Isn't it funny? You cannot navigate through the expansion, but you can navigate through the shop. Think about that.
Banished
From my own homeland. Ah.
What used to be a game that demanded exploration, teamwork, and skill has been dumbed down by dungeon finders, automated systems, and now even a single button that performs all your attacks.
Yeah, that's because they're gonna turn the game into mobile. And I always called it out, and then they did it with Overwatch. Mark my words, guys, they're gonna do it with World of Warcraft. 100%. This is, should I call it a precursor or an omen? I'm not really sure. But this is definitely the harbinger of the end. That's the more appropriate term. This is like mobile, one step before we reach the mobile announcement.
So all you have to do is spam one key.
Wow, incredible, huh? Truly an experience.
The Lich King!
He's falling.
Fall!
Get the Reins of Invincible. Loot it. Nah, he whiffed.
Will we ever see anything close to its former glory? Or will we have to keep playing classic servers to get a taste of what once was?
You're gonna play classic WoW until you're 90. That's our fate. We're cursed. We are cursed. There's no other good MMO out in the market that can scratch our itch. We're screwed, brother. That's it.
This darkness comes to devour everything.
Yikes.
And when it is finished, There will be no more light.
Maybe one day we will see a true successor from Blizzard that is back to its roots.
Without your
Nope.
aid,
Nope,
we
not at all.
will perish.
Can't go on the wheelchair.
And maybe then,
Bro, how can you be the most powerful mage out there and the only thing you conjure yourself is a wheelchair? What in God's name were they thinking? It doesn't even make sense in the slightest. You could have made him into like something way cooler, right? I have no problem with him unable to walk, but just make it cool. Make him like fly or something. Like, it could have been way better than a guy in a wheelchair. What is that?
they will remember
Help us.
the war in Warcraft.
Incredible. Incredible. Wow. Amazing. Actually, great video. I'm going to leave a link in the description. You guys should watch it for yourself. Give him a like. World of Warcraft 2. Yeah, I wish, brother. I literally wish. It's so crazy, man. I mean, he's absolutely right. The Disneyfication of World of Warcraft is super cringe, and it just goes to show, like, people just care about current trendy things and broad appeal, trying to appease all of these people who really don't care about the game, like modern audience, right? The modern audience doesn't exist. It exists for other games, not for World of Warcraft. They're never going to play an MMO because it requires brain. And yes, Blizzard is trying to dumb down the game to the point where eventually like a Boglemite can play it. But it's not going to fly because World of Warcraft has already established itself as one thing, and trying to shake it off, it's completely difficult. That's why so many returning players are just like me, who are believing that the game might be good one day. And to be fair, I've quit since BFA and I haven't touched the game since. Now I'm just playing it again because I want to have a fair point when I criticize it in the future, because you bet I will. And most players that are kind of addicts and still purchasing every single expansion, like every couple of years, they just can't let go. They want to believe that World of Warcraft can be great again. We can have another Lich King. We can have another all of these badass heroes and villains. But we won't have that. As long as they keep paying, we won't have that. And that's unfortunate, man. Because even I bought into it. Because I wanted to try out Midnight for myself. And it just sucks. At the end of the day, I think it's just a matter of if we get an alternative, only then Blizzard would learn. Because we've seen it with Overwatch and Marvel Rivals. We also saw that with Diablo 4 and PoE. But World of Warcraft has no contender. No real contender. So that's why they're allowed themselves to do that. And they're trying to appeal broader market. But once you put someone in charge who actually changes all of that, I think World of Warcraft can easily become the best MMORPG out there. It can actually surpass Wrath of the Lich King. I think there's a hungry audience out there for a really badass MMO. And once World of Warcraft would do that, yeah, we're gonna have a good time.